FOMO.
I don't think it's anyone else's business.
Are you really missing out? You're not.
You feed into it personally.
Come on now. Hey y'all, it's Jazzy.
It's Danny.
And welcome back to our 4th podcast episode. It's been a while since we filmed.
It has been a while.
Almost a month. We've both been pretty busy, just like school and sports. So
yeah, we're currently
yeah.
on fall break.
Which is super nice because we're happy to be back.
Yeah, so it gave us some time to film. So let's catch up, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
What's life been like?
Just school and sports, honestly. We just finished our first quarter. I guess socially wise, we had HOCO a few weeks ago. That was really fun.
It was fun. The older you get, kind of like the less exciting it gets, you know, kind of. It's like, okay, I've already done this 4 times, but it was still really fun, and we were with all of our friends.
Yeah, it was overall a good experience, but yeah, I'm like moved on from the HOCO phase.
Me too. I was done kind of before it came.
I was done being in pictures.
Yeah, that's it. I didn't take that many photos at all.
I just don't like HOCO photos. Like usually it's just a long process.
It is a long process.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
What about you? Anything else going on?
Nope. Sports, school, sleep. That's it.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much been it. Again, we just want to thank everyone who's been listening to our podcast so far for criticism, support, all of it. We love hearing feedback on what we get so we can always improve and stuff like that.
Yes.
But this episode is one of them that all the episodes we have filmed so far have been kind of pre-planned.
Yeah.
This one is not pre-planned. It's actually something we just kind of thought about.
But we feel like it is still super common and occurs every single day. So this is going to be users and being used.
Yeah, we call it users squared.
User squared.
It's like you can be on 2 different sides. You can be the user or you can be the person getting used.
And often you're both. And sometimes you're not even aware of it.
That is so true.
Yeah, so let's get into it.
The first thing we want to talk about kinda is just prime examples I think that I see being used and people being users is when it comes to people's houses, especially in high school. Sometimes when someone is having, a lot of people over, I think that people are like, okay, I don't even know this person that well, but I want to find a house where people are at.
Right. That's a huge thing, is just wanting to be at a house but not necessarily knowing the person at all, especially kids who go to different schools. You don't even know these kids half the time, and but you just kind of want to be there and be present. And I will say, I will admit, I've been on this side of this, where I want to be where my friends are, even though I'm not necessarily close friends with the host. And I'm sometimes never even met the host.
And the biggest example I can think about this is Halloween.
Yeah.
I think on Halloween, I want to go back to our FOMO episode. Halloween has so much FOMO played into it. And so usually on Halloween, people want to go to the biggest party they think is cool or whatever has the most people, even when they don't even have no idea who the person is.
Exactly.
They'll just walk into a house.
Exactly.
And I think that's the most apparent example you see of people getting used or being a user. But I think we go into depth about actual real things that happen on a day-to-day basis.
I noticed that I feel guilty when I find myself kind of using a person. I will help clean up. I will be the first person with a trash bag if I feel guilty, kind of, because I don't necessarily know the person. But I'm I feel bad because I'm oh, now their house is trashed or whatever. And so I'll help clean up. And at the same time, with people that I am closer with, there's this kind of debt feeling, oh, you hosted, now I kind of feel I have to make up for that because you hosted, even though it should be not, even though sometimes necessarily I'm not using them and they just happen to be my friend and they happen to be hosting, but I still get this feeling of guilt and I owe them back,
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Notice how this plays into even small things like listening. A lot of times in friendships there's a listener, but that listener doesn't often get listened to. And so that's kind of the same thing where it's a lot of one-sidedness.
Yeah.
Jazzy calls it the 80-20 rule.
Yeah, I think that sometimes in a friendship you'll have maybe you or another person giving 80% and then that person giving back is 20%. And I think that the 80-20 rule is something to go by. It's not going to be 80-20. I just say it like that because you can see an uneven standpoint and where the friendship is at.
Yeah. So another thing that comes with this is you notice your priorities and other people notice your priorities when it comes to using people. So, for example, are you being friends with this person because you genuinely want a relationship or in a connection with them, or are you friends with this person because they have good things to offer?
And I think that it's just something everyone should evaluate in that friendship because everyone has certain priorities of what they want in a friendship, but I think sometimes your priorities will I want to say the word is like overtake
Yeah.
that person's priorities in a friendship.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy. I really wanted to be honest, everyone has a selfish mindset.
Definitely.
Everyone, you wake up thinking about yourself. You go to bed thinking about yourself. So you have to learn how to think about other people. So in a friendship, it's so easy to talk about me, me, me. How can you incorporate, okay, well, my feelings are this way. What are that person's feelings?
Yeah.
And that is something, like, I think that's a maturity level that you probably should learn in high school, because high school you make friendships and you really learn in high school what friendships are real and what friendships are fake.
Yeah. And I think that's like typical in a lot of friendships too, where like there might be like one person who always drives, or there might be one person who, you know, like a lot of friendships are like kind of like, oh, like I got you this time, like you get me next time.
Yeah.
But over time, sometimes that can become like very one-sided, where it's kind of like one person is always like providing and not like giving back. And I feel like that's another part of it too, is like evaluating your friendships in a way of, oh, am I giving the same of what I'm getting? Because I think sometimes like we don't think about what we're giving.
Yeah.
A lot of times we just think about what we're getting, and we're like, oh, that's
so
great.
true.
But sometimes like even I find myself like quick to be like throw it behind me. Like if someone buys me food, I'd be like, yeah, I get them next time. And then it kind of just like
It slowly
goes to like, oh, like this person's kind of like giving me more than I'm giving them back.
But on the other perspective, when you like buy something for someone and they still like get you back, you still remember that.
Yeah.
So it's easy to be the person who like takes and forgets because you got what you wanted.
Yeah.
But then that person is still on the phone and we're like, well, they're a short behind.
It's like borrowing clothes, you know, like when you borrow clothes, kind of like,
Yeah.
I have like my friends' clothes in my closets from like, speaking of, I'm pretty sure I still have a pair of your swimsuit bottoms.
Really?
Yeah, I'll bring those back to you. But like exactly, it's like that. It's like they're sitting in my closet. So, which in this case is a bad case because I'm sure you didn't remember that.
I didn't remember that.
But when I lend my clothes out, you know, like I typically remember that because I'm like, oh, I don't want to like lose that item. Like,
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't really care how long they keep it for. But for the other person, a lot of times it's kind of like, oh, it's just like in my closet now, you know, and like you don't really think about like giving it back.
Yeah, and I think that one of the biggest things you should grow in a friendship is learning how to see that person. I think one of the things that just came to mind is like you have like this 80-20 rule, where something to recognize if like something is giving more in the friendship. But I also think that, you know, a friendship is never going to be 50-50. If Danny's struggling and she needs more support and more things, of course, maybe that I'm giving more than she's giving to me. However, that should always flip. It should be a balance go. It should be a seesaw. You know, sometimes Danny's going to need more, so I'm going to help her more. But otherwise, if I'm going to need more, it should go back and forth. I think it shouldn't be like 50-50 all the time.
Yeah.
It should be something that moves back and forth constantly.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, seesaw rule. Add that in.
80-20 rule, seesaw rule. Write that down.
And then like another thing I was thinking about with like the using that people get used is saying no. I feel like sometimes you can see that like really people, I feel like I'm a pretty like nice person.
Yeah.
Like I love to like help, but I can see myself sometimes when I'm giving so much that I don't know how to say no.
Yeah, and I'm definitely like that too.
I think everyone is like that in a little bit, where they just don't know how to say no, and they end up like exciting themselves too much that they feel like they just know they're getting tugged on.
Yeah, prime example. Me and Jazzy overbook ourselves all the time.
Oh yeah, like this weekend, I asked Danny if she wanted to like spend the night. I was house sitting. If she wanted to spend the night at a friend's house with me, because I was housing their dog. And I remember like it was like last minute, and Danny texted me and she goes, "I'm so sorry, like I'm overbooked, like I can't make it." And I like related to that text so much.
And I texted her because I knew she would get it.
Yeah,
like I was on my way, and I was like, Jazzy will get it. It was like a 20-minute drive, and I had like work at 8 a.m. in the morning, and it was like midnight. I was like, I can't do this. But I knew Jazzy would like understand that.
Dude, I related it too. So I was like, I honestly was like, it made me like think about myself in that situation.
Yeah.
I was like, man, if Danny can do it, I can do it. Cause like, I was like, oh my gosh, girl, like go get sleep.
Yeah,
like I so know what you mean.
Yeah.
So I think that honestly, I think people forget, like if I say no, well, this person's gonna be mad at me, but that person has probably felt the exact same thing you're feeling. And it's okay to say no. It's okay to set boundaries where you're like, you know what? I've been giving, I've been going out so much. I just need my own me time.
Yeah. And I think like from a perspective of like a user too, like sometimes like put yourself in the person who's being used shoes and be like, would I want someone like doing this to me too? Because like we're so often on both sides of this, you know?
Yeah.
And so we like fully understand it. We just like going back to selfish mindset, like when we're the one that's using, like we want what we want and we don't really think about the other person. But like when we're on the other perspective of it, it's like very clear kind of, or sometimes it's not clear too. Like for example, like my older sister, she gets taken advantage of a lot because she's super nice and she doesn't understand, like she can't always see the fine line when people are using her. And so she like will be taken advantage of because she can't see that. So I feel like too, it's like, it's not always clear when you're being used. Like it might be clear to other people, but it might not be very clear to you.
And like the same example, like I feel like never, if I like took a poll, I went to Rock Canyon and asked, or do you get used? Yes. Are you a user? No.
Yeah.
Or maybe they'll be like, maybe sometimes.
Right.
No one will ever admit it because you're admitting something that is looked down upon. However, you have to realize that in society, you are a user. You're a consumer. You buy things for yourself.
Yeah.
You use things. You can look at it at any standpoint you are. So you just have to own it. But like, yeah, but you have to identify it so you're not hurting a person or not draining that person's energy.
Yeah.
And you want to be able to, I'm not saying you're going to be perfect at it, but you want to like analyze the situation. How am I going to, get what I need as a person? How am I going to give what they need to?
And a huge part of using and being used is money. And like, we're in high school, so it's obviously like like most of us, I mean, I have some of my own money, but it's not like none of us are any like that rich.
Yeah.
But like, people oftentimes are used based off of the assets that their houses have. Yeah. Like if they have a really nice house, like pools, hot tubs, stuff like that, like really nice basements, like pool tables, like bars in their basement. Like it's honestly like kind of like that stuff. It's like if your house has like a really nice assets, then you're often kind of used for your house.
Or like people like know you by that. It's weird because people would be like, oh, it's Danny with the good house. Yeah. Let's go to her house.
Like the girl at the pool.
Yeah.
Like, let's go to her house.
Yeah. And I think that I've probably said that. I'm like, yo, like, or if my friend would be like, hey, like we should go to this kid's house. Like they have a pool.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, oh my word.
I know, me too. I like flip out.
But I should like realize, okay, like, do I know this person? Am I like, what are they, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, am I just going to go for this person to have a pool?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's interesting to think about that because like I actually think that honestly people want to say like, oh, I don't care like what that person has, but it's always a benefit to you if they have something you want.
And like I don't ever host, so like I don't know, and I also am like a fairly middle class person, but I wonder if people who like have those nice assets are ever able to like are ever aware that they're being used, or because it's also kind of like it's one of those things where it's like it's just kind of like nice. Like I have a lot of friends like who have nice things, but obviously like I'm genuinely friends with them, but it's kind of like a plus, that they like have this. So I wonder if they ever feel used for that stuff too. And that's not necessarily something they can control too, like they didn't choose to live in a house with a pool.
Yeah.
Or like I used to have a friend who like she had a pool, but she didn't ever really like swimming, and she would like let people go to her pool, but she wouldn't, like she hated swimming and just like doing laundry afterwards and all that stuff. And so like I wonder if she ever like felt used in that scenario. Like she wasn't even swimming, but all these people were in her pool.
Yeah. I think that's a good example. It's just like, that's just like these examples we have are just like really apparent examples. Like I'm gonna go into their house because they have a pool. Like everyone can see that you're using that person.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think it's
or like another thing is like chill parents. Like
like they
obviously I like to go to the houses whose parents like are super chill and just like don't care,
where they're like, hey, like you can stay here as long as you want.
Like, anyone can spend the night, like whatnot. Like I wonder if like they feel like used for their like the niceness of their parents too.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different things that go into play here.
Yeah.
And then this is something that like I just kind of thought of like on like the spot, but like relationships, like when you're actually, I think this is the biggest example I see personally is when, okay, like you're talking to this person, like you guys are going on dates and stuff, but like you have to think, okay, what do I want out of this? Do I want a relationship? Do I just want someone to just hang out with? Do I just want someone to just be with, when I want someone, friends with benefits?
That's so like attention. Like that's a huge thing. It's just kind of like using someone for attention.
Or you have to think about, what does this person want? Do they want a relationship? Because I think that sometimes people will go into things like completely different. Like I'm going for the friends with benefits. They're going for the relationship. Okay, that's conflicting ideas. And then it keeps going. And then this person is like, I'm going to hang on to them because they're giving me what I want. And this person thinking it's going somewhere. Yeah. And it's just so uneven.
Or even like before a relationship even develops too, a lot of times like sometimes someone will be receiving attention from one end, and be just like completely taking advantage of that situation. Like they might not even like be interested in the person, but it's like leading a person on essentially. That's like using a person. Like you're getting them attached. Like you're allowing them to think that like you want something back.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, I honestly, like, our generation, I think, is huge on leaning on people because you have Snapchat and you have social media. And in high school specifically, you don't care as much. You're like, well, this is going to end anyway. Like, I can talk, I can flirt with this person, I can do all these physical things with this person.
And I can just, like, block them.
Yeah. And that's not cool because, like, that person's heart and their emotions is into play. But our generation has this mindset that it just doesn't matter.
Yeah. I will say, I wouldn't necessarily call it leading on, but sometimes I won't, like, necessarily cut something off because it goes back to, like, the confrontation thing where I, like, don't like confrontation. So I just, like, won't ever say anything about it. Maybe I should work on that. Maybe I should work on that.
Wait, get back. I need more context on the situation.
Like, someone, like, if there, like, there's a boy, right? And, like, they'll, like, basically be, like, into me or something like that. And so they'll be, like, Snapchatting me, and I'm not necessarily, like, going with it, but I'm not necessarily being like, I'm not interested in you, like, stop texting me. And so I'll just, like, let it go on because I don't know how to, like, tell them no.
That goes back to, like, maybe the no thing though.
Like, learning how to say no.
Yeah, that's an interesting standpoint though. But I also think that, I mean, on that case, you know, I actually talked to someone and they were telling me, like, what they believe is talking, or, like, it was a guy, so he was like, guys don't think that anything on Snapchat's talking.
What?
Nope.
Because you know how many girls will be like, yeah, I'm, like, talking to, like, 4 boys right now because they have, like, 4 kids on Snapchat.
So this is another thing, is that, like, in relationships, is that maybe a girl will be like, we're talking every day, like, we're saying goodnight to each other, like, we're talking, and a guy will be like, yeah, I'm, like, just snapping her.
Yeah.
Like, perspective is so different, and then this person thinks that they're getting something, well, this person is just like, huh? Like, we just snapped. No, I'm like that. Like, so
oh my god, that like is blowing my mind because, like, guys, really, like, if you're, like, saying goodnight, that's, like, talking.
Well, like, I don't know if they're saying goodnight, but, like, there's Snapchat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
But
I think
also,
it's another
like,
perspective.
I feel like girls do, like, dramatize things more than, like, guys do, you know. So I feel like it's, like, the extremes of both sides just, like, aren't meeting.
Yeah. So that's another thing, like, just in relationships, is, like, making sure, okay, is this person wanting the same things as me? Is this person giving the same as me?
Yeah.
And do we have the same goal in mind? Because if you don't have the same goal, then this is going to become a use situation really quickly, and it's going to end up maybe one person hurt, both people hurt, because just you're not matching.
Yeah, no. Another thing with relationships that is super common in high school is it can go both ways, but, like, being used for like your body, or, like, it's just stuff like that,
Just
like
physical things.
Yeah, physical things, like being used physical things, and, like,
The hookup culture.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And, like, I feel like more often than not, I feel like it's girls that are often, like, being used, kind of, and they're, like, seen as, like, easy or something like that, which is, by, like, society, which is so stupid.
I hate that. I hate that culture.
Yeah, I know.
Because I think that people are put, like, on a worth, a measurement, which is so, what's the word, inhumane.
Yeah.
Just dehumanizing a person.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that you have to look at yourself. Like, of course, I think our main demographic right now is girls, but if you're a guy watching this, like, hey, if, like, you've done that, like, make sure that, number one, it's consentful on both sides, of course, but, like, make sure, like, you're not going into that mindset, like, oh, I just want to quick something just to get just to feel what I need, and not care what that person needs.
No, hookup culture is so selfish, and, like,
it really is.
Like, someone will tell, I'm just gonna say this just because it's easier to say this, but, like, boys will tell girls anything, you know, just to, like, get them to where they want, kind of, like, they will like tell them as far as, like, they might even throw out, like, an I love you, and not even, like, mean it, just to, like, hope to get something out of it, you know,
to get a sneaky link for the night.
Yeah, I know, which, like, it happens both ways too. Like, girls will do that too. Like, girls, of course, are still fully capable of telling boys stuff and, like, manipulation, gaslighting. These are all things that go with the user and used, because it's all these things that people are just doing. I think the biggest thing with users and people get used is the I, because people focus so much on what they need and not what other people need. Let's talk about gaslighting and manipulation.
Oh, that might be a whole nother episode, but we can touch on it.
Yeah, let's save that.
I think that you have two things. You have a victim mentality, which is a whole nother part of manipulation, on, like, someone who thinks that it's always wrong, like, me, and then you have someone who's like, I'm gonna make this person, because I think they're a victim, think that I'm all this, and I'm gonna twist their mind and think that they need me. There's so many different ways.
There are. Let's go into some advice, shall we?
Our first advice, if you are in a friendship, I want you to look at it like the seesaw rule. how many times is it if I need something, they're giving that to me, but if they need something, I'm giving it to them. It should be going back and forth. It should at least have some balance. I'm not going to say it's going to be equality, but I'm going to say it's going to be equity.
Yeah.
Giving what that person's need at that moment, getting what you need at that moment, and giving at the same, like maybe it's at the same time, both different times.
Yeah. We also wanted to say, like, bring stuff up. Communication is huge with like, because if you feel like you're being used, like the person who's using you might not know that, you know?
Yeah.
So like you have to bring it up and you can't hold it back, especially if you want something to genuinely change, and like they can't read your mind. Like you have to actually say something and like speak up for yourself. And like going back to putting yourself in their shoes, like if you're kind of the one that's using, put yourself in their shoes. Like if you're asking to go to this person's house and all of your friends are there, but like let's say they say no to you, put yourself in their shoes. Like they probably have 50 kids there that they don't even know.
Yeah.
And like that's not fair to them that like they're feeling used.
Like another way to see, like maybe, I don't know, like a self-reflection piece is like look at your friendships and see the people you value. Out of all those people you value, are there any other people who you think or you know? Because I feel like a lot of times you'll know if someone really value use. You know what I mean? That like maybe you're just not giving that same effort to.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, every friendship is built different. Every friendship, there's gonna be different levels of friendship. You're gonna have people you think are really like your really tight circle. You're like your companions, your accomplices.
Accomplices?
Is that the word where it's like
so.
we're just like
companions? We'll call them companions.
mutual friends. I don't know. You're gonna have different. I want to call it like a circle. You're gonna have your center, your wider circle. What's gonna probably be bigger, but like less of a connection, wider and wider.
Yeah.
So you need to understand, like, is this person on the same level as you are to them?
That's such a good point. Yeah.
Like low key, if you want to know this, make a diagram, draw a circle, boom, boom, boom. Okay, 4 people in your tight circle. I don't know how many you're like small circle, big circle, and just keep going. Because this is a great way. Like we don't think about our relationships that in depth, but I think we need to, because relationships is what builds interconnections in your society.
Yeah. Like stop giving your all for people that aren't giving their all back to you. Like that makes no sense. Don't waste your energy on that. And it's like if you notice it too, like don't give in to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, me and Jazzy are very strong believers in having like a couple good close friends that you like realize, like I have some genuine friends that like I never expect anything out of them, you know, like they're nice to me, they offer me things, like they buy me things, like just like their families just like will cook for me and all that, just because like they love me and like they want to be friends with me.
I think I call it like I think the term is overused, like my ride or die.
Yeah.
Like I have people, like they call me at any point in moment, I will come to them.
Yeah.
Like you want to find those people that you think do, and then you want to have that group that you know, I give them a call, they're going to be there. This is a great evaluation of like who is actually there for me, because there's going to be people like that aren't going to do the same.
Yeah.
And there's going to be people that like I can name like just like 3 solid people. They call me up, oh my gosh, I'm on my way, don't even worry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you want to have those people in life, and you want to know that you can rely on those people to be there for you like that.
And I think in general too, we all just need to do a better job of being better for the people around us.
I agree.
Like it's better, I think it's better to be the 80 friend than the 20 friend. Like even though it might suck to be the 80 friend sometimes, you know, that's like getting more than giving. Okay, so in my head, how I see the 80-20, the 80 is the person who's like giving.
Yes.
And the 20 is the person who's like not giving at all.
Okay, yeah.
That's how I'm saying. But like, I guess you could see it the opposite way. So
no, on the giving standpoint, like you're giving 80, they're giving 20 to you.
Exactly. Like I think it's more important to be giving more, and like I think that we all just like need to do a better job of that, because we can't expect that. We can't, like, that can't just be like something that we expect from the people around us, especially like it's kind of like give respect, get respect.
I like that. The golden rule.
Yeah.
Kind of all foundations are in first grade here, y'all.
Yeah.
The
seesaw rule, the 80-20 rule.
Those are actually
golden rule.
3 rules to follow by. If you have to write these, I don't know if people don't take notes on podcasts.
No, they don't.
I don't know. Maybe like
maybe they do. Mental notes.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think overall, remember, just like I think just evaluating your friendships. I think high school's a time where you really learn who's there for you and who's there not. And I think that, you know, in high school, of course, you're going to go to college. So like you maybe I think you're going to have less people in high school that you continue on with. So don't waste your time in high school with people who, number 1, you're using.
Yeah.
Or number 2, who are using you. Because it's 4 years, and you actually want to learn how to be a good friend. You want to learn how to find good friends.
Yeah.
Don't waste your time.
Definitely not.
All right. I think we're going to wrap it up.
Yes. I'm Danny.
I'm Jazzy.
And this is the Come On Now podcast.
Thank you. Oh, and all links are going to be down below.
Yes.
Spotify, blah, 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 blah.